it's transmitted at the...
All right. Next question. I showed your gender software arguments to a friend, tracing the etymology back to 12th century AD. But the friend insists that there is only sex, and all talk of gender was invented by sexologist John Money. Can you elaborate more on this?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
There has to be a software component, whether we define it as subordinate to sex or not, because the variability between the two sexes in the different behavior is so great, right? That is to say, within a sex, the behavioral variation within humans is so large that we know it's transmitted at the software level. And so even if it did, it's about damn time that it did, and it seems to overlap what people mean when they say gender. So the question is the fact of the abuse of the term gender substantial enough that we need to invent a new term for the software of sex, or should we be doing what you and I have been doing, which is trying to retain the meaning in the term that we have, rather than surrender it to people who wish to abuse it?
Yeah, I guess I would add to that I actually have not gone back and looked at the etymology, but I've heard versions of this, and it's not always even the same one, but no, the term gender was invented by such and such and such and such, and that's really recent, and therefore gender isn't real. That argument falls into the same trap. It's effectively a postmodern argument. Until we had language for the thing, there wasn't a thing. It's not right. Like, if we have language for a thing, there's a thing that predates the language for it. And we know for sure that there are behavioral ramifications of sex, more broadly, since mulatto, the software of sex, but there are behavioral ramifications of sex that are much more sort of fixed, much more fixed action pattern type stuff, to use an old psychological term, in other animals, such as in sex switching reef fish, where when the sex changes, so too does, and we just call it, in non-human animals, not gender, but sex role. It's the same thing. So, is it possible that gender was invented as something that isn't real, and recognizing what it should be, a bunch of people over in reality space went, oh, I know what that is, and so we're going to use that word, and now there's confusion, in part because the original meaning of the particular word that we're using was intended for something not quite right. It's possible, but it doesn't change the fact that sex and gender, use whatever words you like, but let's be clear about it, that sex is hardware, gender is software, and almost all organisms that have a sex also have some aspect of a sex role or a gender.
All right.
Roe distorted politics for 50 years by placing a moral issue out of reach of voters. A return to federalism is the only way to keep the country together. If you don't like your state, you can vote with your feet.
I hate this vote with your feet argument. There's obviously an element of truth to it, but it obviously also has there's a tone deafness to it, because there's a class issue. Not everybody can up and move, right? That's a matter of your privileged position, the fact that your job allows you to move. It's also not true that us simply moving to some place where the legislature is more in line with how we see the world is a way of going about things. In fact, there's a strong argument to be made that the fact of people moving to the place that their job took them was very distorting of the things that united us and made us more functional. That said, right, there is a value to states having leeway under the federal rubric. So I think both things are true. But I hate the idea that, it's like when we were kids, if you an argument that something that the country was doing was wrong, then the point was, well, why don't you vote for Russia? sorry, no. So anyway, yeah, it's good to be able to vote with your feet if you have to, but it's hardly a good remedy.
Yeah, indeed. So Zach, I know you're working on the video component that's gone kind of wonky, but it's just a little, the one we were left with is a little bit wonky here. It's a little bit tilted. All right, and we have audio now? We're gonna go make it even briefer than we thought. I'm just gonna pull a few more questions then. Okay. Just in case we're about to lose.
Sorry, Zach.
Okay. Do we? All right.